here we go. The student says, "Hi there, I like your podcast so much. Your energy is contagious." Well, thank you to this listener. That's amazing. I got a 9 for listening by religiously listening to your podcast every day. Also, I have a question for you. How to improve my English further to a native level. I already got an overall 7.5, but I feel like there's still a long way to become native-like. I still can't understand some conversations, even the stuff they write online, and there aren't many courses or strategies that teach how to improve after 7. Nice question.
Yes, right. And I can totally understand where this student is. If you've been really focused on, like for this student, IELTS preparation, or maybe it was TOEFL, or maybe it was studying to go on a specific trip, you really do have to adjust how you're learning, figure out how to build fluency, or you might just give it up entirely. It's been 2 years since you spoke Arabic, Lindsay.
2 years.
It's easy to just
No,
go.
3 years. It's been 3 years. Oh my gosh. And how fast can we lose what we've gained? It's just working out. You know how they say it takes like 3 weeks to get in shape, but you can get out of shape in like a week?
Absolutely. I've been there.
Yep, it's the worst. So don't lose the muscle mass of the language learning, right? Love that. This is exactly what we're going to address today. But first, Aubrey, I want to call out those who took the time to leave us a rating and a review in our Android app. Are you ready for this?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, huge thank you to our listener. I can't read the Korean, but it is in Korean, and it's someone on July 18th who reviewed us 5 stars. Thank you. Nur Harris Effendi, that person reviewed us on July 9th. Huge thank you. Ana Paula Clatao Leite, thank you so much. And Parastu Beirami on June 9th. Aubrey, these reviews are amazing. I love reading them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you to everyone who has reviewed the podcast. We read them. We love them. We're grateful. It helps others find the show, and sort of like a thank you note to us.
It's a little thank you note, right? If you want to send us a little note, it's the equivalent of a little love letter, right?
Absolutely.
We love those. Go ahead and leave us a review wherever you listen to the show, Spotify, Apple, iOS app, Android app, and we'll do our best to read your name aloud on the show. All right?
Awesome. Good. All right, so let's dive in here, right? If you are in this boat, or maybe you even feel like what you've been doing isn't really helping you progress. Maybe you've plateaued. Today's advice is really going to help motivate you to boost your fluency. I'm sure there will be some ideas here that can help with your language learning journey.
Yeah, so the first big tip, right, from us to you all is try to speak and listen consistently and regularly to English. Right, Aubrey?
Absolutely, right? And the consistency is really key here.
Yes.
And also, you want to be choosing things that you love, that are engaging, that you look forward to, right? You want to choose podcasts and audiobooks to listen to regularly, that you look forward to listening to or reading. And then you want to summarize aloud anything you're listening to, because you're looking for opportunities to continue speaking out loud. A lot of people slip into just reading or listening in a second language, and they're not speaking aloud enough. And then that opportunity comes to have a conversation, and you really struggle.
Right. This is why it'd be great to get kind of a partner in that's listening, that's hooked on some kind of a series or a podcast series, true crime series. What we want to do when we go into our podcast deck or when we turn on Netflix, we don't want to say, I have to learn English now, so I'm going to consume something. We want to say, I want to know what happens next, or I want to hang out with these characters, right? That's what we're looking for in the shows that we choose.
Exactly, right? And that leads right into this next point, to seek out conversation, opportunities for conversation. So if you have a speaking partner, a friend that you can speak to in English, and you're both listening to the same podcast or maybe listening to the same audiobook, what a great way to have something to spark that conversation. This can be fellow learners or native speakers, anyone that you can chat with in English.
I love it. I love it. And then working eventually towards thinking in English and avoiding translating in your native language. So this is a big one. We've gotten this question in Open Conversation Club numerous times, and every time we kind of have the same answer. The thing to do here, Aubrey, is what? It's something totally in our control.
Absolutely, right? The best thing to do is to start narrating your daily routines or your feelings out loud. This trains your brain to think in English. You can do it silently throughout your day or out loud when you're alone. Just narrate whatever you're doing in English.
I know, and I love it because I feel like I narrate stuff anyways in my native language.
Right.
And so it's not a hard flip, in my opinion, to flip it into English, right? Your second language. And it doesn't mean you have to know how to say everything. You'll discover what you need to learn. Like the word for can opener. Maybe you don't know it, but it comes up in what you're saying, and so you then need to learn that. Right?
Yes, exactly. And the more you're training your brain to think in that language, it is going to push you to be consistent with listening, reading. You'll stay excited about continuing in English.
Yeah, I love it. So pick, like as Aubrey said, pick a 5-minute chunk of your day. I would suggest maybe in the morning when you know your routine is kind of similar, or choose different times, because then you do encounter different things you're going to be saying to yourself.
Absolutely.
Right? Love it. All right, what's the second tip?
All right, number 2 is to continue expanding your vocabulary. This is going to be a more proactive exercise, which is going to keep you from falling into that or hitting that plateau of not feeling like you're improving. So you do want to be reading regularly and consistently, finding books that you love, reading maybe the newspaper, magazine articles to continue learning new words in context.
Yep, and we definitely endorse, vocabulary apps, things like Duolingo, Babbel. These can reinforce our grammar, our pronunciation, our vocabulary skills. So we're kind of moving into a bit of an actively learning here.
Yes, or the Allers English app. If you're not using it yet, we pull keywords from each podcast episode. So it's a really easy way to track interesting new vocabulary on this podcast. So that's a great way to be adding new vocabulary every time you listen to one of our episodes.
And I think the caveat here is just don't try to think you need to learn every word that you hear that you don't know. This is a trap a lot of students fall into, Aubrey, right? Yeah, so then they spend the whole time looking it up in the dictionary. That becomes not fun anymore.
Exactly, and you end up with just long lists of vocabulary, none of which you're actually using, right? So yes, we say maybe 4 to 5 words for every 30 minutes that you're reading or listening to keep it manageable. And then those words you want to actually be using when you are writing and speaking in English.
You got it. And then the next piece is try to proactively learn idiomatic language. So that means phrasal verbs, idioms. Be in situations, try to be physically in situations where idioms will come up. And then ask someone what they just said, what it meant. There's nothing wrong with asking a native speaker or a non-native speaker what something meant.
Absolutely, and this is really what keeps language learning fun. The idiomatic language is what makes a language fun and dynamic. So you want to be proactively using that and adding it to your conversations to sound more native and natural and just to have fun with the language.
Exactly. What's the third thing we can do, Aubrey?
All right, third is to continue working on pronunciation and intonation.
Yes.
If you're studying for IELTS or TOEFL, you're doing this very proactively. You want to keep doing it as you focus on general fluency. So you can listen to and shadow or mimic native speakers. You want to pay attention to how they pronounce words, the word stress, syllable stress, and their intonation. And you can mimic just 10 seconds at a time to practice that.
Oh, little chunks of practice, 10 seconds, 20 seconds are perfect. You can go back in this episode. I don't think we'll have a role play today, but almost every episode we do. And you could use our role plays and go ahead and mimic what we're saying and how we're saying it. Right?
That's a great idea to use the role play at the end of most episodes to mimic and practice that intonation. And you can also get feedback, either from your speaking partner, from a teacher, because often the pronunciation errors you're making, you're not hearing them, you're not noticing them, so you might not know what to focus on. This is one thing I work a lot with our students on. When I'm giving feedback, they're asking about specific pronunciation so that they know where to focus.
I love that. Another option is to add AI feedback as a supplement. It doesn't replace help from a teacher, but it's a supplement. And lately this summer, we've added AI pronunciation feedback to a lot of our courses, and it will be in more in the fall, Aubrey. Are you excited about that?
Yes, this is amazing.
Yes.
AI is getting better and better. It's a great way to get feedback on your pronunciation. So I love that we're adding this to the courses. It's really building out how much you can practice and giving you a chance to know what about your pronunciation to focus on.
Totally, because you can use the tool when you're in our course as many times as you want on the same phrase, right? You get a score on each phoneme, each sound. Do it again, do it again, do it again as many times as you want. I love that.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right, Aubrey, what would be the fourth recommendation here for our listeners?
All right. Luckily, for those of you who are learning English, you have such a wealth of resources. You want to make use of everything available to you, right? So there are websites and platforms that have, grammar tutorials, there are ESL blogs, YouTube accounts. There's so much. You can find any YouTube channel that interests you so that you can really find something that's engaging and interesting for you, whatever it is that you're interested in.
Yeah, and we already kind of said this, but watching TV shows, podcasts, whatever's out there, take it in, make a choice, and use it. Right, Aubrey?
Exactly, right? This is a little harder for me in French, you in Arabic. They're at least what we're able to access. It's not such a wealth of resources, but take advantage of everything that's out there.
And then make sure to set goals. That's important at the beginning of setting up a learning plan for yourself. You need to say why. Why is so important. What is your why for learning? And go beyond just, I want to be fluent. What does that mean to you to be fluent? Is that connection? Is that achievement? Is that a salary raise? Right?
Exactly. And you want these to be realistic goals that are achievable so that you feel like, it's within your reach, this next benchmark that you've set for yourself, because it is easy to lose motivation and stop trying if you feel like something isn't achievable. So make sure those goals feel reachable.
Yes, exactly. But inevitably, let's see, I had a great quote this week when I interviewed someone for our Professional English Level 2 course. He's a project manager, and I was talking to him about project management, and he said, no project plan ever holds up to reality. It never happens, right? So reality gets in the way. The kids have to go to soccer. You have to stay and work late. There's a traffic jam. So give yourself some grace. I love this expression, Aubrey. We've done an episode on this. Michelle and I did. What does it mean?
Yes, right? It means to be flexible, to not beat yourself up. We can't expect things to always go according to plan, right? I love that quote. We know that things won't always move as quickly as we want. We might not reach a goal as fast as we want. So we need to recognize that progress might be slower than we'd like and be patient with ourselves.
So what that looks like, and what we always encourage when we come to Open Conversation Club, when we check in with our students in the hot seat, often, we fall off. We fall off the wagon a little bit, right? We're not able to do our course one given week. The next week, it's about, do you come back to it the next week? Or do you say, oh, no, I wasn't able to do it last week, so I won't do it this week. That's where we lose, right? We come back.
Exactly, right? So we can forgive ourselves for any little hiccups, get right back on the wagon, and then do everything we can to stay consistent with our progress, with everything we're working on. Recognize it won't always be perfect. If we can just spend a few minutes each day, that consistent practice will really make a difference in the long run.
Yeah, and we want to remind our listeners, guys, follow the IELTS Energy podcast. This is where this quote from this student came from. And there's a great episode to check out right away, because we can learn more than just about IELTS over on that podcast. Right?
Yes, exactly right. Episode 1514 was Band 9 Idioms for IELTS Speaking Part 2. So many of the episodes over there, whether you're studying for IELTS or not, you're going to learn so much interesting vocabulary. So definitely check it out, especially if you're preparing for the IELTS exam. It's a very fun podcast.
Yeah, and as a takeaway, you've completed your trip, right? Maybe you went to New York, you prepared your English for New York, and now you're home. You've passed IELTS, you passed TOEFL, or there was some big exam. You're over the hump, it's over. What do you do now? This is the time to set up the plan. Right? This is where the momentum is still there.
Exactly, right? Continue to build fluency. Set, achievable goals that you can reach. And if you really need like a trip, imagine that trip sometime in the future, if it's not set now, to give yourself that motivation, that goal to keep building fluency.
Yeah, and you can take it even one step further and have some fun. You could ask ChatGPT to plan the trip for you. I actually did that. I asked ChatGPT to plan a trip where I would be traveling in India, but working remotely and visiting meditation sites around India. They came up with an amazing plan. It was so I almost booked the trip, seriously.
That is a great idea. I might need to have AI book a trip for me, and then just go no matter what.
I know, then just book, right?
Just book it.
So anyways, just if whatever you need to do to envision, it's kind of like vision boarding, and you put it right in front of you. There's a reason. That is the why. Okay.
Absolutely. Right.
So
You
good.
don't want all of your hard work to go to waste if you passed IELTS or TOEFL or did a ton of studying, right? There's so many reasons to keep building fluency.
I love it. Good stuff, Aubrey. We'll see you very soon. And don't forget, guys, leave us a rating and review wherever you listen. All right.
Awesome. Thanks, Lindsay.
Right. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.
Okay, my student, I come back just a little bit.
This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 2471. Out of energy or out of power? What's the difference? Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection, with your American host, Aubrey Carter, the IELTS whiz, and Lindsay McMahon, the English coming.
Oh. Okay.
USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app. This is an All Ears English podcast that we do recognize before we go any further in this episode. We recognize that food is scarce in different parts of the world, and it is absolutely heartbreaking to us. We are speaking in this episode from our perspective, our experience here in the U.S., but it breaks our heart to see scarcity of food around the world. Yes, absolutely. All right, well, let's get into the episode. Hello, Lindsay. How are you? Doing great today, Michelle. Excited to be recording. How's everything going on your end? Everything is going well. Lindsay, when was the last time you went to a buffet? Oh, I have not been to a buffet in quite a while. But when I go to a buffet, it is tempting to go back for seconds, right? I have to admit, even I don't eat that much, like my stomach's small, I guess, I don't know. But it's tempting to go back and you think, oh, that was so good, or there's so many great options up there. Let me just go see what else is there. Right?
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
What about you? Do you do that?
Yeah, well, I recently was at a wedding where there were a lot of buffet options. And then yeah, so I'll go check it out and see what I want, and then yeah, if there's something I want, I'll go back for seconds for sure. Today we're going to talk about vocabulary dealing with eating. So, how much people eat. This is also very cultural. And speaking of culture, we recently did an episode about leftovers. That one was a really good one. We talked about an article. We went through a lot of things dealing with culture. So this is a really good one to check out. I'll give you that information towards the end of the episode so that you can listen to it.
So hang on to the end, guys, and hit follow while you're here. If you're listening in Apple or Spotify, you should be able to find the follow button. Hit that follow button, or of course, if you're in YouTube, this will be on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Good. All right. So let's talk about some of these key words. So the first one is portion. So, Lindsay, what is a portion? Yeah, a portion is how much food a person gets, like on their plate, right? So, the amount of food. So, for example, I asked for a small portion of the pasta. Too much hurts my stomach. Okay. Yes. And this goes along with, there's that buzzword, portion control. Yes. What is portion control? So it's the idea of people are maybe they're trying to reduce calories or something. They might reduce the size of their portions, so shrink their portions. So for me, the best way to do this was to live in Japan. Because I mean, maybe you noticed this when you traveled there, Michelle. I don't know if you did, but the portion.
Okay, just a little bit. Let me start with you. Okay.
Episode 2477. Are there free refills? How to ask for more food and drink in English. Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection. With your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Colorado and New York City, USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app.
Today, we talk about portion sizes and how to talk about getting more food at a buffet. Plus, get cultural tips on dining culture in the U.S. So before we get more into this episode, Lindsay, we did want to mention something because on this episode, we are going to be talking about food and portions and the abundance of food. So Lindsay, what did we want to say about that?
Yeah, we just want to mention that we do recognize, before we go any further in this episode, we recognize that food is scarce in different parts of the world, and it is absolutely heartbreaking to us. We are speaking in this episode from our perspective, our experience here in the U.S., but it breaks our heart to see scarcity of food around the world.
Yes, absolutely. All right, well, let's get into the episode. Hello, Lindsay. How are you?
Doing great today, Michelle. Excited to be recording. How's everything going on your end?
Everything is going well. Lindsay, when was the last time you went to a buffet?
Oh, I have not been to a buffet in quite a while. But when I go to a buffet, it is tempting to go back for seconds, right? I have to admit, even I don't eat that much, like my stomach's small, I guess, I don't know. But it's tempting to go back and you think, oh, that was so good, or there's so many great options up there. Let me just go see what else is there.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
What about you? Do you do that?
I recently was at a wedding where there were a lot of buffet options.
Okay.
And then so I'll go check it out and see what I want, and then if there's something I want, I'll go back for seconds for sure. Today we're going to talk about vocabulary dealing with eating. So, how much people eat, this is also very cultural. And speaking of culture, we recently did an episode about leftovers. That one was a really good one. We talked about an article. We went through a lot of things dealing with culture. So this is a really good one to check out. I'll give you that information towards the end of the episode so that you can listen to it.
So hang on to the end, guys, and hit follow while you're here. If you're listening in Apple or Spotify, you should be able to find the follow button. Hit that follow button, or of course, if you're in YouTube, this will be on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Good.
All right. So let's talk about some of these key words. So the first one is portion. So, Lindsay, what is a portion?
Yeah, a portion is how much food a person gets, like on their plate, right? So the amount of food. So, for example, I asked for a small portion of the pasta. Too much hurts my stomach. Okay. Yes. Yes.
And this goes along with there's that buzzword portion control.
Yes.
What is portion control?
So it's the idea of people are maybe they're trying to reduce calories or something. They might reduce the size of their portions. So shrink their portions. So for me, the best way to do this was to live in Japan. Because I mean, maybe you noticed this when you traveled there, Michelle. I don't know if you did, but the portion sizes are much smaller. But the food is amazing, and it's almost more satisfying. So you eat a lot less. You go out with a bunch of coworkers or friends. You might share 4 or 5 dishes among 10 people, small dishes, and that's at least in my experience. But the food's satisfying. It's good, and it's okay. It's enough, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to the next word. The next one is helping.
Yeah.
And this one makes me think of my grandma for some reason, because I think that she always used to say, oh, another helping. But my friend said it recently, and that kind of inspired this episode, because I hadn't heard that word in a while.
Yeah, it's kind of like a nostalgic word or something. Yeah, I totally know what you're saying.
Yeah, and this is similar to portion, right? It's almost the same, but it's specifically about what is being served to one person. It was so good, I got 2 helpings.
Yes. Exactly. So that's just a personal choice if you decide that you want to use that word. It's not like it's out of style. It's just for some reason it just feels nostalgic. I don't know how to explain that. But yeah. So then seconds, going back for seconds. Also another way to say you're going to get 2 portions or 2 helpings.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, this is often at a buffet, right? Yeah. Someone might get 1 plate and then go back for seconds, or you could just ask, for a kid might ask, oh, can I go back for seconds? Can I have seconds, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely right. I want seconds. Yeah, that's how it's said, right? Seconds. This buffet is amazing. Did you try the dessert? I'm going back for seconds. Yeah. That's true, and that also happens in college dining halls, but usually, at least in my experience, the food was not that great, but it was just one big 4-year buffet, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why they talk about the freshman 15.
The freshman 15, yes. And freshman year of college, you tend to put on some weight because you're not thinking about what you're eating.
Oh, man. so funny. Great. So we'll take a quick break, Michelle, and then we'll be right back. Okay, so other ways to say this in American culture. We are a culture of large portions. I'm going to say in the US, it's really the largest portions that I've seen. Maybe that's starting to change as prices are going up in restaurants and things. But I do. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
Well,
on
I think
portion
that the
sizes
fancier the restaurant, they're sometimes known for the smaller portions.
True.
So it's kind of interesting if you go out and it's a place that you may be like a sports bar, you might get a burger and just a ton of fries, and it's just this huge portion. If you go to a fancy restaurant, they might be a little bit smaller, and some people don't like that. They feel, they want to have, you know, they want to pay for the most food, but it's kind of a quality quantity thing, I think.
Yeah. It really is. That's been my experience too. But in general, if you go to like your average neighborhood bar and grill, right? Equivalent of that would be maybe like a brasserie in Paris or something. I think the plate you're going to get is definitely going to be bigger and like, I don't know, I think unnecessarily large, but in the US compared to globally, it's just crazy.
Yes.
We don't need such a big helping, right?
Right. Helping. When I think of helping, I think of when my grandma used to make macaroni and cheese. She made it with the little elbow macaroni. And she put the slices of cheese in there, and I remember I have the nostalgia of her adding the milk and mixing it up. Oh my gosh.
Oh, she actually put slices of cheese. I feel like most people grew up on Kraft mac and cheese, the box, the powdery stuff, which is probably not food at all. I don't know what it is, but
no. Oh my, it's funny the things that I ate as a child that now I'm thinking I do not want to give that to my kids, but we didn't know as much back then.
We didn't know.
And now so no, I did also have the boxed macaroni. It's not that I didn't have that, but my grandma specifically would always make it, and I remember like ripping the cheese with her and throwing it in. It's kind of a nice warm memory.
I mean, our listeners are going to relate to this. There are so many memories that happen around food. And
oh my God.
Just on a different note, what you said we didn't know, I have a theory that for our generation, ultra-processed foods, UPFs, are the I didn't know in our generation, and for my mom's generation, baby boomers, the smoking was I didn't know, because my mom used to smoke in the 70s. They really didn't have the research out yet, or at least it wasn't available, and she quit when she found out that it was so dangerous. And I think UPFs are that for our generation, like the amount of UPFs that I consumed as a child.
Yeah,
because we didn't know. We had the little the little cheese things with those red sticks that you would put on the crackers. Do you remember those?
Oh, cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I know. What is that? Was that even real cheese?
It's all delicious, but I don't think it's any of it's
Yeah.
real food, you know?
No, right. Yeah. That's all.
Yeah.
This is a whole other topic
It's
we
a
could
whole
talk
other
about for a really long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll go into it another day. It's just interesting to think about, like, research comes out and generational change happens,
Yeah.
and some things we just don't know until the research comes out. It's really interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid of what they'll find out about cell phones, of course.
Oh,
Like,
cell phones, microwaves.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many things, and the plastics and the everything it feels like you can't do anything right.
I know. We should just do a role play and not think about it, Michelle.
All right, but I do have one that I want to add, which is to get a refill.
Yes.
Because this is specifically for liquids, or something in a portion box. So like coffee, but also it could be a frozen yogurt in a cup.
Yes.
Popcorn at the movies. And it could also be used as a verb to refill something. So like I asked the waitress to refill my coffee cup.
Yeah, for sure. Yes. Or are there free refills of the popcorn? So you want to ask that. Some places will just have a popcorn popper there.
Yeah.
There's a mixed drinks bar that I like to go to in Salida, and they have this nice big popcorn thing, so you can have unlimited popcorn. It's just like, while you drink your cocktails, it's the best.
Yeah, I love popcorn.
Yeah.
All right, now let's do a role play.
All right, so here we're at a buffet. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Do you think they give free refills of coffee?
I would think so. Okay, I will definitely be getting another helping of the pancakes. Yum.
So good. I'm not great at portion control, so I will be going back for seconds too.
Sounds good to me. Oh man, I love pancakes. Oh, so good. This episode's making me hungry.
Yes, me too.
All right, Michelle. So first you said, do you think they give free refills of coffee? And by the way, many places, well, you do have to ask nowadays. If you go to a diner in the U.S., it's usually, that diner cup, that, the unlimited coffee. They'll just come around and do you want a refill? You want a refill, honey? Right? With the
Yep.
typical accent, diner accent.
Yes.
But not everywhere, right? You get a coffee at a fancier coffee bar. It's definitely not refills.
Right. Or, sometimes you just don't know. So you want to ask. The other day I was at a restaurant and they had iced coffee and they just were pouring it, like regular coffee just coming around like that. And so we did ask, and then their answer was, we can do that for you. And we said, is there free refills? And we're like, we can do that for you. And then you're like, Wait, what?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, because
so
I never think of
always
free
ask
refills
if you're
with-
not sure.
Yeah. I only think of free refills with coffee as hot coffee. I never think about it with
I know.
iced coffee. But
That's why
interesting.
we asked, but they did it, so that was
Cool.
nice.
All right. Then what did you say, Michelle?
So I said, do you think they give free refills of coffee?
Mm-hmm. Nice. And then I said, I will definitely be getting another helping, and that's that one that reminds you of your grandmother, right?
Yeah.
Helping of the pancakes.
Yes. And then I said, I'm not great at portion control, so I will be going back for seconds too.
Nice. Very typical conversation, right? Because we're always kind of at different kinds of restaurants, the amount of food we want. I love this conversation. And there's another one episode related to it, Michelle. What is it?
Yeah, this is the one I was mentioning, guys, earlier in the episode. This was episode 2461. That was leftovers, culture, and class.
All right. Where should we leave our listeners today?
All right, guys. Well, yeah, these are really useful words if you're out at a restaurant, at a buffet, just talking to somebody, connecting over food. So give these a try, and always interesting to observe culturally as well.
All right, great stuff today, Michelle. Guys, don't forget to hit the follow button or, of course, subscribe if you're on YouTube. We're getting close to 300,000 subscribers. So help us get there. Let's celebrate together. Let's get there. Hit subscribe. All right, great. All right, Michelle. We'll talk to you very soon. Have a good day.
All right, bye. You too.
Bye. Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.
This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 2476. Out of Juice, How to Connect Over Dead Batteries.
Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection, with your American host, Aubrey Carter, the IELTS whiz, and Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, coming to you from Arizona and Colorado, USA. And to get your transcripts delivered by email every week, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe. find yourself having the same conversation about your phone battery dying all the time? Believe it or not, this can be a connection moment if you have the right vocabulary. Listen in today. Hello there, Aubrey. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you, Lindsay?
Good. Aubrey, do you have the experience that your phone dies in the middle of the day sometimes?
Absolutely. I'm really terrible about remembering to charge my phone at night. So then I just get up and go in the morning, and by about midday, it's like low power. Need to plug it in.
Yep, same here. If I don't charge it at night, it will definitely die by like 4 p.m. the next day. So, yes, so annoying.
Well, yes, this is tricky and interesting. The vocabulary we use for devices dying, batteries running out of power, which is a little different than when we're talking about other maybe the electricity for a house cutting out. So part 1 was vocabulary for that, about power cutting out. Stay to the end for details. If you missed that, you can definitely listen to these out of order.
Yeah, and some of this is also different from physical energy running out too, right, Aubrey?
We talked about that in part 1, because there's a common mistake where someone will say they're out of energy, thinking that means out of power, because we do use energy to mean electric power sometimes. Very tricky.
Good. So go and find all the other parts. Make sure you get the whole series here. And also, what should our listeners do, Aubrey?
Yes, be sure to hit follow so you don't miss any of our episodes. If you're following the podcast, you probably already heard part 1. So definitely wherever you listen to podcasts, hit follow right here on All Ears English.
All right, let's start with the first essential term our listeners need. I like this one, Aubrey, because it sounds kind of cool to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. It's out of juice. To say something's out of juice, it's a little more trendy. Like this is maybe a little more slang. Maybe eventually we won't say it this way anymore. But right now, if you say something's out of juice, you mean the battery died. It's out of battery power.
Exactly. So, for example, my phone is out of juice. I need to plug it in. Yeah, you hear this it's common, right? It's
very
everywhere.
Common. It's probably the most common way right now, at least in the States, to say that something is out of battery power. Or you might say, I keep forgetting to charge my Apple Watch. It's out of juice every time I go to wear it. This happened for me. I tried to have an Apple Watch for a while, and I just never remembered to charge it, so it was always out of juice.
Oh, yes. Well, I think Apple products, but I've been surprised with the ring, the Aura ring. It's not an Apple product, but it actually charges. You can charge it for 30 seconds and it lasts for a week. It's amazing.
Oh, that's impressive. If only our phones could stay charged that long.
Could you imagine?
That would be amazing. Maybe one day, right?
Maybe one day. And then the most super common thing that we hear is dead or died. Right?
Exactly. Like, my laptop is dead. I forgot to charge it.
Yep. Or my phone just died. Do you have a charger?
Yes, my car battery died. Do you have jumper cables? So this is one thing to note, that when we say out of juice, this works for every electrical device like smartphones, Apple Watches, laptops. But when we talk about car batteries, we do say they died or they're dead if they run out of battery and you need to jump, like with the jumper cables on your car. But we don't say they're out of juice. We wouldn't say my car's out of juice.
Yeah.
This is more specific to batteries for like electric devices.
Yeah.
Technological devices.
Exactly. So you might say, can you give me a jump, or can I get a jump from you? That's a very colloquial language, right? And it just refers to connecting one car to another to restart the car, right? On the side of the road.
Has that ever happened to you, Lindsay, where you need to jump somewhere?
No, it luckily hasn't. Shockingly.
Oh, you are very
What about
lucky.
you?
It's happened to me so many times.
Really?
Like a crazy amount of times. I finally bought their things. It's like a kit where I can jump my car just with the kit. It some kind of tiny generator like holds enough power in it so that I don't have to flag somebody down or ask someone else to give me a jump, because for some reason that happens to me a lot. I think in Arizona, part of it is the heat drains batteries. So it happens a lot when you're living somewhere this hot.
That makes total sense. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, I just haven't really had that experience. Interesting. Well, that's good that you can be more self-reliant now.
Yes.
Right?
I guess it is kind of awkward to find some stranger and be like, do you have jumper cable, or can you help me jump my car?
For sure, for sure. And then what else, Aubrey? Is there something else we say?
Yeah, well, we wanted to point out there's this phrase, this chunk we use when we say something's about to die.
Yes.
We really almost never will say, like, my phone is about to be out of battery, or my phone is low on battery. We'll say my phone is about to die. Almost every time. I've been listening since I planned this. Like, how do people say this? This is how we say it. My phone's about to die.
Oh, it's so common. It's so common. Everyone's got this problem.
We wouldn't say my phone is about to be out of juice. My phone's about to run out. We don't. We'll say, like, it's out of juice. It's about to die.
So our listeners just need to remember that chunk, about to die, just for phone battery, okay? Or laptop battery.
Laptops.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't know this about a car, but for like anything where we can see how much battery life we have, phones, Apple Watches, laptops, all of these, if we see the battery's low, be like, oh, my phone's about to die. Does anyone have a charger?
Yep, nothing more natural than saying that. I love it. And then ran out of battery. That's just more textbook, I guess. Sorry I missed your call yesterday. My phone ran out of battery. It's definitely, that's the textbook way to say it. For me, it takes too long to say.
Yeah, I think we've sort of replaced this with out of juice, right?
Uh-huh.
Especially it's more conversational.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you're at work and you're talking to someone you've never met before, maybe you might say out of battery, because out of juice is very casual.
Yes.
But it's also faster, like you said.
Exactly. What's another example just for the textbook phrase here?
I might say, I need to plug in my laptop. It's about to run out of battery. But it's true, I agree that is what this means. That's probably what we'd learn in a textbook. We don't hear it very often. We would probably say it's about to die.
Yeah, and there's something about using the more colloquial phrases like out of juice that kind of, I don't know, creates the bond between whoever you're talking about. Just being more casual creates more connection, I think.
Absolutely. Definitely.
Right? Yeah. All right, Aubrey, let's do a role play because I love how common this scenario is. Well, I don't love it. I hope that all the tech companies fix this so we don't have to have this episode. But unfortunately, we need it, right? So we can use it as a connection moment. Okay.
Yes, it does happen all the time. So, like, you are going to want to connect about this. In this role play, Lindsay and I are friends. We're trying to meet up in Central Park in New York City, but we're having battery issues.
Here we go.
I'll start us out. Oh, I finally found you. I was wandering around for like 15 minutes.
I tried texting you, but didn't hear back.
Sorry about that. My phone ran out of battery.
No worries. Mine was about to die too, so I just sent a pin and hoped you'd get it.
It's crazy how much we rely on technology. When my phone's out of juice, I don't know how to get anywhere.
Same. I need to start carrying a portable charger so I'm not stuck with my phone's dead. Ugh, I don't know how anyone ever met anyone before phones.
I know, or got anywhere found. I remember so often getting lost before we had GPS. I was living in New York, and I would print out from MapQuest directions. And before that, you would have like written directions, right? And we would get lost all the time, pulling over to ask people where somewhere, how to get somewhere.
You would print out maps of the city of New York, or you mean like
like MapQuest. Do you remember MapQuest?
I do. I absolutely remember doing
that. We'd go to MapQuest and put in where we were in the destination, and it would print out like a long list of directions.
Totally.
And then before MapQuest, we would have had to just write that down. Would ask someone how to get there, somewhere. And we're like writing, turn left on Market Street, turn right on First Avenue.
But I do wonder though, with all this new technology, because we don't really have to talk to anyone anymore. It's like with the jumping thing or with the asking for directions, like there's maybe some aspect of life that gets lost a little bit. Right?
That's true. We just have to find other ways to, other things to talk about if we're not having to ask someone for directions.
It's true,
We could take that time to have a better conversation about something less stressful.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Let's reallocate that energy to something better. Yes, love it. All right, let's go through this role play real quick. Aubrey, what did you say first?
Yeah, so first you had said you had texted me but didn't hear back. So I said, oh, my phone ran out of battery. So That means it died, right?
Yeah. And we said that's the more textbook phrase. You can say it. You just might not feel like you have the time or the energy to say it, right?
And really, as I read this, I'm like, I would say my phone died. My phone died. I very rarely would say ran out of battery. It does almost feel antiquated just because there are faster ways to say it that are more common.
You might say my battery died.
Oh, my battery died.
Combine the two. Yeah. So then I said, no worries. Mine was about to die too. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, and this chunk, really, if it's about to run out of battery, this is how we'll say it, about to die. There's all these other, we just don't really say it any other way. It is about to die.
Yes, 100%. So for our listeners, guys, memorize that chunk and use it, right?
Yes.
And then the last thing you said, Aubrey, was, when my phone's out of juice, I don't know how to get anywhere.
Yeah, meaning out of battery, right? When it's dead, when it's out of juice. And then you said, I need to carry a portable charger so I'm not stuck when my phone's dead. Meaning out of battery. And I took one of those portable chargers on the last trip we went to Cancun. And it was so much better. I was able to use it on the plane when I ran out of juice. And it was just sort of peace of mind knowing that I had this backup if my phone died.
Yes, because it's really scary when you think, like, I'm going to be out of the house all day, won't have access to a car, to charge it in a car. Where are you going to charge, you know?
Right. We don't want to have to deal with that.
But look at this topic, right? It's not just the fact that your phone dies frequently. It's also the fact that people don't really know how to navigate anymore without the phone. So these are two sub-conversations that create connection for our listeners to start. Yes. Right?
What a fun conversation we had just talking about how we used to get by before GPS, right? It is interesting. And really want to be sure to share with you part 1 was episode 2471, out of energy or out of power. What's the difference? So here we highlighted this very common error, easy to make. So be sure to scroll up and catch that one if you missed it.
Yep. And I mean, what we've just said is the takeaway. You know, we've said this summer quite a bit. Connection lives in the places that everyone experiences, the things that everyone experiences daily, right? And that you can resonate with that person because you know exactly what they're going through. So focusing on learning the language for those situations, it really punches above its weight, don't you think, Aubrey?
I totally agree. We've all been inconvenienced when our phone dies, our laptop dies. So this is definitely something that you can connect with someone about your shared experience.
You got it. All right, great stuff today, Aubrey. I'll see you in the next one.
Awesome. See you next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time. Ears English Podcast, episode 2475. Are you indecisive? How to say it in English. Welcome to the All Ears English Podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection. With your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Colorado and New York City, USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app.
Do you tend to go back and forth and struggle to make decisions? Today, get some brand new and high-level vocabulary to articulate your indecisiveness.
Hey there, Michelle. How's everything going today?
Everything's good, Lindsay. Lindsay, are you teetering on any decisions right now?
Oh, yeah. Well, we're planning a trip to Norway, I think, in September. So we're kind of teetering on whether we want to kayak or not, or what we want to do. So, yeah. Teetering a little bit, Michelle. What about you?
Teetering a little bit.
Any back and forth? Debating?
Let's see. Any back and forth debating? I guess. Well, okay, fine. In my house, now that I live in a house, we've been in here for several months, and we have not done much to it, and so we're teetering on whether we want to maybe put some wallpaper up in the kitchen, or if we want to do painting, or where we want to maybe the next step in the house, right?
That's
maybe
fun.
do something for design. So I don't know though, but I always teeter on what to do.
We're really teetering back and forth.
I'm teetering.
Yes, you shared before with our listeners that you're sometimes indecisive and struggle with making decisions. So
the worst. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, guys, we have a question from a listener on YouTube. Guys, you can ask your questions on YouTube if you would like, because we are on YouTube. So
yeah.
Come on, check us out over there. So yes, this question is from Can Need New J3O.
All right.
Yes.
Creative name.
I love it. So this listener asked a question. Lindsay, would you like me to read the question?
Sure, go for it, Michelle.
All right, I'll go for it. Okay. Hi, I really love your podcast. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Would it be possible to give me a little shout out on the next episode? Here's your shout out.
Here's
Thank
your
you
shout
so
out.
much.
Thank
Love it.
you. Bring your
Thank
friends.
you for listening. Yes, very much. Thank you. It says that would make my day. Also, since you mentioned teeter in this episode, I guess whichever episode they were listening to, I was wondering if you could talk a bit about the word teeter, like how it's used in everyday English. Thanks so much and keep up the amazing work. Great question.
It's a real. This is a more rare word in English, but it's something that our high-level listeners should know for sure,
Yes.
Michelle. So I can't wait to get into this today. But before we do, a final reminder, if you are on YouTube right now watching this, hit the subscribe button right now so you don't miss 5 episodes a week. And if you are listening in Apple Podcast or Overcast or Spotify, hit follow. You hit that follow button so you don't miss out on anything from the show. Okay?
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, really good question. I believe this came from episode 2428, which was, why is English spelling so nerve-wracking? So, go on over and listen to that one if you haven't yet. All right, so
Interesting. Okay.
let's get into it. So teeter has a couple of meanings.
Okay.
So real quick, it can be more physical also.
Oh, yeah.
Like kids
Yes.
on a teeter-totter, right? What's a teeter-totter?
Right. The one where you have like one kid sits on one end and the other sits on the other end,
Yes.
and they go, but I don't see those anymore. I don't know. Do they still have those for kids?
They do.
Or are they too dangerous now?
No, they still have them. Well, and the other name for that is a seesaw, right?
A seesaw, sure. I used to love that.
Yes, exactly. I think it's more commonly known as a seesaw. But those are fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's mostly used to say something goes back and forth. So this goes back to our discussion at the beginning. You're not sure. This is generally used about a decision or an opinion. You're teetering between something.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So, for example, you're teetering between buying a used car and a new car. You know, like, for example, we love Toyota 4Runner, but that car is... You know, you could buy it used, but it's not much cheaper if you buy it used, right? It's about the same price as buying it new. So you might teeter back and forth with that decision. What's something else, Michelle?
So you could say, I teetered back and forth about whether it would be good for me to move to a condo, but ultimately it was the best decision I made. So you're talking about something in your life. This can be used for that. You were talking about a hard decision that you
made. Oh, I was teetering about if I wanted to buy something, if I wanted to rent.
Yes, yes. Or you might just say, can you help me decide? I'm teetering between all of my decisions and I'm so overwhelmed. This might be you, Michelle.
Yes. That is me. So yeah, some other personal examples I could think of was, for years I teetered back and forth about if I wanted to ultimately live in the city or move to the suburbs or what I was going to do. So that was a huge decision. And then last week I was teetering between a few class times to sign my daughter up for. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to figure out the scheduling, and so that can kind of make your brain hurt.
I'm sure I can imagine. Oh my gosh, decision making is hard, and it's the worst when, hiring's another example, right? When you're looking to bring someone new onto your team, maybe in a marketing role, something like that. That's something that we're looking at, a marketing professional to join us. There's so many great options out there, so many great candidates, and you can see the good things in everyone, right? And you think, if I choose this person, I don't get this aspect of this other person's skills, right? It's like I want aspects of everything. I don't know. It's hard.
Well, that reminds me of, not that this is the same thing as deciding on people, but when you're looking for a house, or on House Hunters, right? You ever watch that show, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so, you can get this, but you don't get this. We always end up making some sort of compromise. I think that's why people teeter, because you can't get everything, right?
You can't get everything. Yeah, you can't create the dream house and just bring the great backyard from that one and the driveway from the garage. I wish we could, but
yes, it would be great. I always said that I wish I could move my current house into the city. I could not afford this space in the city.
just maybe in like 1960 you could have or something.
Right, but not now.
Not now. Things have changed a lot.
Yes.
So the hardest decisions to make are, I think hiring, frankly, can be really hard.
Yeah.
Like you said, house selection, the choice of where you're gonna live, city, the exact city you're gonna live in, or state, really. Like, what area do you want to live in? The West, the Northeast, that kind of thing. Hard.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
Okay, Michelle, we are back from break, and we don't have to always say teeter, because it is kind of a more rare word, so you should have other options. Our listeners want options. What are they?
Right, well, I love this one, to go back and forth. I mean, you can actually say teeter back and forth, but most commonly you might hear go back and forth. So I'm going back and forth between the red shoes and the black shoes.
Or waver. I like this one because it's also a rare word. I'm wavering between the roses and the tulips. Yes.
Do you like flowers, Lindsay? Do you like to get flowers as a gift?
Yeah. I never feel bad when I get flowers, sure. There are other things I value, like spending time with the person or an event, an experience, but I will always accept flowers. Sure.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, it's not something that I get. I think they're pretty. I don't
Don't give Michelle flowers.
No, I actually really like to have flowers in my house. I just wish that they didn't die so quickly. Actually, you know what? My son, he made, I don't know if you've ever seen, they have Lego flowers.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, because he loves to do Legos, and so he made this whole bouquet of Lego ones. So I love flowers. I love how they look in the room. I love the colors. I just hate when they die. So I like the Legos.
That's so funny. I love that. What's the last word, Michelle?
This last one I thought is a fun one to teach, so I just wanted to go for it. So to vacillate. Vacillate. This is a really high level one, guys. You're not gonna really say this all the time. You really want to think about the best time that you're gonna say this. So to vacillate, it's like a fan, right?
Exactly. So basically, she vacillates all the time between her choices. She has to ask everyone their opinion. She goes back and forth the way a fan moves across the room. If you have it on that selection, that setting, right?
It keeps on going back and forth.
Keeps it going. I know. That's how I feel. I feel like it's always there's like this recency effect. Has this happened to you? Everyone has an opinion. And then if you go and you talk to everyone, it's going to be the most recent person's opinion that you've talked to, that you're going to be most influenced by. I do that at least.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
Dangerous.
I just realized, because I was asking some people about a decision I was making, and that's true. Oh my gosh. That's right.
I feel very swayable. It's swayable, All right, let's do a role play. We know that our listeners love these signature role plays, Michelle. So here we are friends. We're making decisions about what to do for the evening. Okay.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Here we go.
Okay, so I heard that new movie is great, but I'm going back and forth. I don't know if I want to see it or do something outside.
Yeah, the weather is so nice. Okay, let's stop teetering and choose. Oh, wait. What about the festival that's going on?
I'm wavering on that because I heard it's super crowded.
You always vacillate on decisions when you hear there's a crowd.
Nice. All right, good. We got some high-level stuff going on in today's episode.
Yes.
These would, if you're taking IELTS, these would be band 9, teetering, wavering, vacillate. Definitely insert these into any speaking responses, and check out IELTS Energy podcast while you're at it.
All right.
Michelle, let's go through it. So, but I'm going back and forth is what I said. I don't know if I want to see it or do something outside. Okay.
Yes.
Indecisiveness.
Yes, and then I tried to encourage us, and I said, okay, let's stop teetering and choose.
And then I said, I'm wavering on that because I heard it's super crowded. And again, I'm just not sure. I'm going back and forth. Yeah.
Yes. And then I said, you always vacillate on decisions when you hear there's a crowd. So probably a little too formal for this kind of conversation. It's you're not going to hear this all the time. It's pretty rare.
You mean specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
But good to know, fun one to throw in there from time to time.
Good to know. It's fun sometimes to impress your friends with high-level words.
True.
I have some friends that will sometimes come up with a word, and I'm like, what does that mean? They'll just come up with this rare, interesting English word, and I don't even know what it means, and then I have to pretend like I know, or I have to ask. It's sort of awkward, but it's kind of fun to do that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is fun. That is
fun. Michelle, what's our takeaway? How to cure indecisiveness today, right?
Yes. Well, this is just a really great, I think everyone can relate to this feeling. There's always something, I don't know anybody who goes through life just sure and without any question of decisions. So this is just a really good way to connect over that.
Yeah, and frankly, if you are going through life with all your decisions very, very sure, we might be missing some important nuance or details or taking time to think about it. I just can't imagine. Some things we know in our gut, right? Like we just know what the right path is. There's something visceral, but often it does get very cerebral, very heady, and we end up weighing details. So now we have the vocabulary to do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a great question. Thank you again to our listener. And everyone have a great rest of your day.
All right, Michelle, have a good one. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/ fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time. This is an All Ears English podcast, episode 2474, Classic and Common British Slang with Anna Tyree. Welcome to the All Ears English podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. We believe in connection, not perfection. With your American host, Lindsay McMahon, and today's featured guest coming to you from Denver, Colorado, USA. And to get your transcripts delivered by email every week, go to allearsenglish.com/subscribe. Have you ever wondered how to connect with someone in British English but wanted to get away from fancy textbook language? Today, our guest Anna shares 4 British slang phrases that will help you in your next English conversation. Hello, Anna. Welcome to All Ears English. How are you today? Welcome back to All Ears English. I think you've been on the show a few times in the past. How are you?
I'm good. It's a pleasure to be back with you, Lindsay. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We always have fun collaborating together, and I think a lot of our listeners already know you, and some listeners will be excited to learn about you. So I'm going to take just a minute to read your bio for our audience. So listeners, today I have Anna Tyree. Is that the correct pronunciation? Tyree?
Tyree like diary, but with
I remembered when you told me last time, the diary. So Anna is here on the show. Anna is a British pronunciation coach, an English teacher, and the founder of English Like a Native. Through her courses, YouTube channel, and popular podcast, she guides adult learners to achieve English fluency and to speak with confidence. One more time, glad you're here, Anna.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so today we're getting into a very important topic, which I think still eludes a lot of our listeners at the B1, B2 level, which is slang. And more specifically today, we're going to look at some classic and common British slang. Anna, where are you from? Where are you based in the world?
Okay, I'm from England. I was born in the north of England, but slowly over my life, I've moved further and further south. And now I am just outside of London, which I'm sure many people listening will know where London is. So that's where I am. I'm in the south of England.
Yeah, I was just in London 2 months ago in May for the podcast conference. So I really enjoyed getting to know the city. And do you enjoy living in the city of London or just outside the city?
It's a double-edged sword, Lindsay. I love the convenience and the opportunity and the energy that the city brings, but then it also comes with a high price tag.
Of course.
It comes with pollution and just having to queue for everything, having to deal with people everywhere all the time. And sometimes I feel the need to escape. Go out to the country and get some fresh air, you know?
Yeah, that's totally understandable. And that leads to a question that maybe we'll have to have you on another time to talk about specific slang just in London. I mean, I'm sure there are words that are just used in the city of London, but we'll talk about that another day. Let's get into today's topic, which is, like I said, the classic and common British slang. So today you are going to show us, I believe, 4 different pieces of British slang that our listeners should know. But first, Anna, why should we care about slang? Why should we try to learn slang and use slang?
Well, it's a really good question, Lindsay. Slang is kind of the language that's used in the day-to-day. It's what many native speakers will use in general chit-chat and conversation. And it's not completely informal either, although you think about slang as being quite an informal language that you would only use with your close friends.
Right.
When in fact, slang can be used when talking to tradesmen, when in a conversation with someone at work. You know, it's not perhaps what you'd put in an official email as a business to a customer, but it's definitely used more often than maybe people think. So it's quite important for that kind of natural flow to feel authentic, and for learners not to feel completely lost when they have learnt the textbook English and then they are faced with a native throwing slang phrases at them.
Yes.
They might feel lost if they don't know what's being said, you know?
Absolutely, and very demotivating to have spent a lot of time learning English and then all these other words come at us and we're not able to connect. So it sounds like what you're saying is it is the root of connection, right? It is the way to get it, whether that's in the spoken business world or informal, at parties, socializing. Okay, let's get into the ones that you've chosen to present to our audience today. What would be the first one that we can teach our audience today on the show?
Okay, so I'm going to start with quite a long phrase, and there's a few things in this phrase that I want to highlight, and it is to pop the kettle on and have a brew. To pop the kettle on and have a brew. So I might say to you, hey, Lindsay, come on in. I'm just going to pop the kettle on and have a brew. Would you like one?
Absolutely, I would. How should I respond to that in very typical British slang? I'm just yes, right? I will come.
Oh, I love a brew. I'm spitting feathers. There's an idiom that you might use. I'm spitting feathers, which means I'm very thirsty.
So funny. It's so funny how many unique British slang terms as a native English speaker from the US, I've never heard of them, right? And that's one of them. So to pop the kettle on and have a brew.
Yeah.
So what does this point to, this slang? Is it the importance of tea? Is it socializing? What is the value in British culture that this slang points to, Anna?
Well, brew is a really common term in the UK because we are a nation of tea lovers.
Yeah.
And the way we drink our tea is quite specific, I believe. We have English breakfast tea with milk, sometimes sugar, not really with lemon. I know in different countries tea is taken in different ways.
Yes.
But we tend to have milk, sometimes sugar, not me, because I'm very careful with my sugar intake.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
But brew is very specifically for tea, not for any other hot drink as well. So that's a really important point to take on board, that if someone offers you a brew, would you like a brew? Just boiling the kettle, then you know they're not offering you coffee, they're offering you tea. So if you're not a tea drinker, you might say, do you have any coffee, actually? And they might have some in the cupboard.
Is that acceptable to ask for that? To ask for coffee when you're invited for tea? Now we're really getting into culture here.
Absolutely. I think as long as you approach everything with an air of kindness and, your polite phrases, not being expectant or too blunt, then everything is acceptable.
Got it. And when during the day is the most common? So this would be said in the morning, the afternoon, the evening. When are we most likely? Is it afternoon tea typically that people are invited to, or?
It really depends. The morning brew is quite important for many people, although I know that as a culture we are shifting more towards coffee in the morning.
Oh, really?
Like, we've normally been a tea drinking nation from morning till night. But we tend to follow you guys in the States slowly. About 5 or 10 years later, whatever kind of is trending in America tends to slowly come over here. And I've definitely seen a shift in the last decade away from tea in the morning to having coffee in the morning.
Interesting.
But, we drink tea all day long. I mean, afternoon tea is quite a specific thing as well. Then that comes with, if you go for a traditional afternoon tea that comes with cake and sandwiches. It's a whole thing.
Yes, I've heard of that. They call it high tea, right? Or is that just the tourist?
Well, high tea is, that's one way of referring to it. But afternoon tea, if you've booked an afternoon tea, then you can do that in many different places. But can I point to something else in this phrase?
Yes, please do.
It's the word
Yes.
pop, to pop. Now, we use this all the time.
Yeah.
So pop often replaces the verbs go and put. So
Yes.
if it's replacing go, for example, I'd say, I'm just popping to the shops. Do you need anything?
Yes, I'm so glad you highlighted that, Anna. That is a very uniquely British verb and way of using that verb. I hear that a lot on when I watch British sitcoms or on movies. It's really interesting. So the other ways we use it, you said, are to go somewhere.
For going somewhere or replacing put. So I might say, pop this jacket on and see if it fits, or I just need to pop the cakes into the oven and then I can relax.
So put on or put in.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And it just means to do it quickly. That's the idea, to pop. If I'm popping to the shops, then I would expect to be back within a few minutes. Like if it's the corner shop, I would expect to be home in 10 minutes. If my partner were to say to me, hey, I'm just popping out, I'll be back soon, or I'm just popping to the shop, then if he's not home in 10 minutes, I'm going to be phoning him going, where on earth are you? I thought you said you were popping to the shop.
Okay, so it's a very specific verb. It means something very specific. You'll be right back, or this thing is going to happen quickly and easily. Interesting. That's very uniquely British. We do not use that. I mean, we know the verb, but in American English, but we definitely don't use it in that way. So I love it. All right, excellent. Let's move on to the next one, Anna. What's the next one you'd like to share today?
Okay, this is a fun one. I like this one a lot, and it is to faff. Now, to faff, F-A-F-F, can also be a phrasal verb, faff about or faff around, or simply faff. Now, faff on its own means to do, well, either way, as a phrasal verb or simply as a verb, it means to do lots of things, to be busy with something. But that's ineffective, so you're not achieving anything. You don't want to be someone who's faffing around. If you want to get things done, for example, if you are in an emergency situation and you phone the emergency operator and they're faffing around on the other end trying to find their pen to record your emergency, or faffing around doing something else while taking your call, that's not going to be ideal, because you need them to be focused and they're not going to achieve anything and they're wasting time.
Right.
So, to faff. Do you faff, Lindsay, ever?
Oh, yes. I was going to ask you this when it comes to running a business and having a big email inbox. I feel like I'm often faffing around, right? It's one thing I need to do. I start that thing and then ding, here comes another thing I need to do. And I start that thing and I'm faffing around quite a bit.
Easily distracted.
Easily distracted, yes. What about you? Is there any aspect of your life where you find yourself faffing? Is it faffing about or faffing around? Faffing
Both. You can use
about,
both.
okay.
And there's
Okay.
no, as far as I understand, there's no real difference. They're completely
Okay.
interchangeable. If you, well, for me, I'm very busy all the time. I struggle to sit still. I like to feel like I'm being productive. So sometimes I'll find myself with 10 minutes to spare, and maybe in those 10 minutes before I have to do the next thing, maybe picking up the children from school, and
Right.
maybe at work I can't achieve anything in 10 minutes. So I start,
Yes.
here's another phrasal verb, I start pottering about.
Oh, that's another
So-
unique one. That's a good one.
Moving around the house,
Yes.
looking for some faff. That's not the right way to use it, but looking to faff about. And I might start moving a few things around, maybe doing a little dusting, but not a full job, and just looking through some paperwork, just faffing about.
Yeah, good
My
to know.
partner often
Mhm.
gives me a hard time when we're trying to leave the house. Now, he says that what I'm doing is faffing around while he's waiting outside saying, come on, we need to go.
Yes. But what are
I
you doing?
think-
You're preparing, getting ready.
I think what I'm doing is very important. I'm going through the checklist. Do we have the sun cream, the hats, the coats? Do we have snacks? Very important when you've got kids. Have we
Sure.
filled up the water bottles? Or do I need a spare set of clothes just in case? Like, for me,
Yeah.
that's not faffing, but he says I'm faffing, and
Isn't that
I need to
interesting?
stop.
How two people could see the world so differently, right? That he would see that as faffing. Fascinating. I love that. It reminds me of my parents when I was growing up. It was the same thing. My mom would take ages to leave the house, and my dad was always in the car ready to go, and we were in the car with him, and we're all like, what is she doing? But it's often the mom who is really there making sure all the, the T's are dotted, T's are crossed, and the I's are dotted, right? I love that.
She is the oil in the machine, keeps everything running smoothly.
I love it. So faff about, that is very uniquely a British phrase. All right, what would be the next one, Anna? Let's move on.
Okay, so if Sophie, this is, again, this is an adjective, and it is to call something a bit naff. So like
Okay.
faff, but with an N, a
Yes.
bit naff.
Mhm.
Have you heard this phrase before?
Yes, this one I've heard, but I wouldn't know what it means or how to use it. So,
Okay, So it means that something is basically poor quality or not very good. So I might describe a film as being a bit naff, or a party could be naff.
Okay.
Or perhaps if you buy a remote control car for your nephew for a birthday, and you say, was it okay? It was on offer. I'm not sure. I didn't spend much money. Was it okay? And they might respond with, I'm sorry, it was a good idea, but it was actually a bit naff. It broke quite quickly, or it doesn't run for very long before the batteries run out. It's a bit naff.
I see. So something that's kind of low quality, either physically low quality or just not good enough, doesn't meet your expectations. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I really enjoyed the Time Traveler's Wife, the story of the Time Traveler's Wife. I read the book, and I don't know if it's because I read the book first, but once I read the book and loved it, when I saw the film, I was disappointed. I thought the film was a bit naff. It didn't tell the story in the way I had hoped it would.
I think there's very few movies that are as good as their counterpart, as their books. Do you think? I can't think of very many at all. Usually it's a disappointment.
The Lord of the Rings, I felt did a good job, but there was a lot cut out, of course, because the books were so long. But the films were epic. Sure. But I think generally we're going off on a tangent here, but I think generally it's because your experience of the book is your own mind and imagination, whereas a film is someone else's vision.
Yes. Which is kind of more fun to make up your own ideas of how this person looks and what happens. I think there's a sense of disappointment when it's put into a film and a director has decided that's what this person looks like. That's what happens here. Fascinating. So a bit naff. Good to know. And then the last one, I also have heard it, but I'd like to know more.
Okay, so the last one is to be gobsmacked. Gobsmacked.
That is a big word.
It is a big word, and it's a great word. In the UK, the word gob, if you've heard that on its own, is also slang for mouth. Interestingly, I would think that the word gob is actually quite crass, not a swear word in any way, but a bit crass.
Okay.
I wouldn't say gob. I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say shut your mouth anyway. It's not a nice thing to say to someone, but I certainly wouldn't say shut your gob.
No.
I might say to my children, shut your mouth while you're eating. I don't want to see your food. Right. Never use the word gob. However, the word gobsmacked doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel bad or crass in any way. Gobsmacked, if gob is mouth, I always think of gobsmacked being that reaction when something shocks you, you open your mouth and you cover it with your palm and go,
Oh, right.
So it's almost like you're smacking yourself in the mouth in that reaction where you cover an open mouth, which I don't understand as a human reaction.
Right.
Why do
Doesn't
we
make
open our
sense.
mouth in shock and then
Good
cover
question,
it?
Anna. I don't know. Great question. So what kinds of things would we say this? What kinds of moments would we use this then?
Any time that you are like really shocked, and this could be positive or negative, so it could be shocked at winning the lottery, or shocked at being picked for the team, or passing your exam, or it could be shocked at hearing the news of someone passing away, or shocked at the latest football results, or shocked when someone misses a penalty.
Got it. And then would you say I'm gobsmacked right now? Would you say that? Or would you say that about someone else? Is it more, directed?
Both. I think if someone asks you how you're feeling about something, then you could just say, I'm gobsmacked. And for me as well, if I say to someone I'm gobsmacked, it's like I'm saying I don't have the words. I'm gobsmacked.
Yes.
I don't know what to say. I'm gobsmacked. I'm so utterly shocked. I have no other words because I'm gobsmacked. I can't talk. My mouth has been smacked. I'm gobsmacked.
I like it. It's very visual. It's very clear. I think in American English we might say I'm stunned, right? Something like that. I'm stunned. I'm astounded. But we don't have, I don't think we really have an idiom to express that in such a fun way. So I appreciate that about British English.
It's very strong. Very strong.
Yeah. Wonderful. This has been great. Thank you for these 4 idioms or expressions or pieces of slang. Anna, do you have any final pieces of advice for our listeners on how to actually learn slang? Any piece of wisdom you can give us here?
I think always with any kind of language learning is the more exposure you can get, the faster and the faster you'll learn and the more output you'll achieve. Your brain is an incredible piece of kit, and even if you don't actively sit there writing lists and looking at the language, just by exposure you can pick up a lot more than you realize. And so with things like slang and kind of common use language, I would say make sure you're getting enough exposure, whether through dramas,